welcome to Bubble Dropout, because I actually remember the name. Thank you very much. Um, in reference to Kanye, College Dropout, obviously. We did notice a lot of players are, dropping out from this season, obviously due to the virus, due to Black Lives Matter, and just even for personal reasons. I totally get it from that point. Let's just start off from resident Laker fan here, all right? Mr. KOB right here, yeah, flexing on us. Sadly, everybody won't be joining us this season. He wants to stay with his family. I think it's more important. But to replace him, the Henny God himself, J.R. Smith, has returned to the NBA boys. He was last known for throwing a bowl of soup at one of the assistant coaches in the Cavs organization before his release. Kevin, what are we feeling here? What are we feeling? Good vibes?
Good vibes all day. Threes. Oh my God, I'm ready for the threes from JR. JR and LeBron back. The two brothers. Let's get it. Oh my God, I'm so ready for that Cavs chemistry that they had. And Dwight Howard said he was playing again. I'm a Dwight Howard hype fan too. So let's get it. The Lakers are going at full force. JR is just going to add to that. JR and Caruso coming off the bench. Let's get it.
Okay. I think we can all agree that on paper, this looks like a very meme team, right? Like we have like AD, LeBron, meme. We have JaVale McGee, Dion Waiters. Okay, the man took a gun, passed out on the plane, had a heart attack, basically. J.R. Smith. As much as it looks weird, I think LeBron is the only person that can make this work, right? We saw it with the Cavs, and we did see it with the Cavs, right? Kyrie and Kevin Love got hurt. He had J.R. Smith, Tristan Thompson, who was like okay at that point. Iman Shumpert, like these nobodies or washed up guys at this point. It made him look really interesting. I definitely think that Dwight Howard coming back would be the biggest move. It's really awesome on his point that he's going to donate the rest of his salary to Black Lives Matter charities. So I really give him props to that.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with you that I think this team can be a really solid threat in terms of playoffs, as much as it sounds like a meme at this point. Resident Celtics fan, Postmaster Murphy, what do you think? Do you think the Lakers are, you're feeling good about these Lakers in terms of just competitiveness, or too much of a meme at this point?
Is Anthony Davis playing?
Anthony Davis will play.
Okay, so I don't care about J.R. Smith. Everybody on that team is a giant meme except for, LeBron and Anthony Davis. We can move on now.
Hey, no Caruso love. Interesting.
Oh, no, I love Caruso, but, you got to admit, Caruso is a little bit of a meme.
Yeah, 100%.
But do you think this team is actually good enough to get to the finals, in your opinion?
Yes, I do, because you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. If you have LeBron James facilitating the game, if you have him at points, he can do honestly whatever he wants. And you have Anthony Davis playing and healthy too. I mean, we saw this during the season. I thought that the Lakers were going to be much, much worse because they just don't really have a team. But I will admit Dwight Howard has been doing better than I thought. J.R. Smith, I don't care about him. He's fucking trash. I don't give a shit. But obviously we have seen that LeBron and Anthony Davis can carry the team. Them making the finals, yeah, sure. I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. It's just you can never count out LeBron James.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. I definitely agree. I mean, yeah, fine wine once again. Can I get that on a T-shirt? Fine wine and dine. LeBron James
with just a crown underneath it.
Hey, man, fans, let us know if that's going to be interesting for you guys. So also someone that's going to be sitting out is Willie Cauley-Stein that the Mavs picked up. Obviously, with Dwight Powell getting injured, they picked up Willie Cauley-Stein, but now he's going to sit out. He's going to have a kid as well. They picked up Trey Burke, who's a guard, very small guard. I think he's like 5'10", 5'11". He can shoot, don't get me wrong, but Matt, just being more of a local Mavs fan, do you think this is enough to at least be a serious threat? I know we got Luka, and we had a little bit of skepticism in terms of his workout regimen, over the past 2-3 months. KP obviously looking strong. Do you think this is enough to maybe advance to at least second or third round, or it's washed up this season?
definitely advance to the second round. Trey Burke, he's a solid shooter, but which helps because if he actually like has some heat in the game,
Mhm.
then they're gonna need to put guys on him, and which leaves Luka wide open. Now, Willie Cauley-Stein, I really don't like him as a player. I really don't think he's that good. I think he's washed up. I'm not a fan. I don't think he really brought anything to the table for the Mavericks. So to me, it's kind of just like canceled out, and it's still going to be the Luka KP game. Um, Whether or not Luka has been eating right or working out or whatever, if he's even like first year Luka, he's still gonna dominate. Like he's
Mhm.
still gonna be shooting like crazy. He's still gonna be playing really well. And like I said, KP has been getting jacked. He's still working out. He has a great workout regimen. Um, I could see them getting into the second round. Third round, it really depends on who they're playing, but I need to see Luka videos. I need to see what he's doing. I need to see it, man. It's scaring me a little bit, but you can't count out his skill. His skill is just so incredible that, like, I mean, look at James Harden. James Harden he's not the most fit person in the world, but the guy can shoot. The guy can make plays. So Luka definitely being on that kind of level, it doesn't necessarily worry me, but it does put a cap on your potential.
For sure, and because I think we all understand that like KP's role was not more of a screen role, but more of like he's a shooter, right? He's a corner
Yeah.
specialist at this point. Maybe that'll change, obviously, with the role evolving as well. Um, Obviously, Dwight Powell was a really big part because he got Luka the screen to either get that pop a shot up or just drive to the lane and one. I definitely agree with you that we really can't doubt Luka, right? Luka's skill set. I mean, it's LeBron, probably Miami Heat point, right? He's already ready to play this game since like 16, 17 years old.
Yeah.
Guy has an IQ that's way beyond any of ours, obviously. But it'll be interesting, either playing the Nuggets or even the Clippers. It'll be interesting to see like how fatigued or even how well he can get past maybe a Kawhi or Paul George on defense.
The Mavs against the Nuggets, that would be very interesting. I would really like to see that, mainly because you have players on each side that have almost drastically changed. I really want to see how well Jokic plays. I'm very fascinated to see how he changed everything up.
Exactly. Maybe it might be a good way of recruiting Jokic to Dallas. Maybe get the Euro squad together.
Yes, let's get Giannis to the Mavs. Let's get Jokic to the Mavs. Let's fucking go, Euro squad.
Euro squad. Let's get it. And man, you can get Boban to start too. Let's get it. Let's get it done.
All right, let's hold on. Can you just imagine if Giannis was on Dallas next year? Can you just, because he's going to be a free agent, So all the Mavericks need to do is just dump a fuck ton of their players and just pick him up. They can do it. They can do it. You can have KP, Luka, and Giannis on the same team. What?
No, yeah, that'd be nuts. You should be playing 2K at this point. All right,
It'd be
get
great.
starting five. That'd be interesting. We'll go to Kevin on this one. Your favorite Brooklyn Nets, minus Kyrie, minus KD. Along with them not joining them would be Spencer Dinwiddie. Sadly, he did test positive, along with DeAndre Jordan. For some reason, they told him to go to Brooklyn and not directly to Orlando, and that's where they're assuming they contracted the virus just on their flight. That was really silly by the Nets, in my opinion. Just like no reason to go to Brooklyn and then come back if you're not going to meet up and kind of stuff like that. But both of them will be out. Along with that, Torian Prince. I know Kevin loves Torian Prince. He's going to be out. Do you think the Nets should just be kicked out of this playoffs at this point? Are they like why are they playing?
I mean, I don't think they have much of a chance. I think it's gonna be really tough. But they have sparks of what could be greatness that could help. Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Joe Harris.
Joe Harris. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about him.
You're stretching, man. You're really stretching.
That's why I'm like, I don't know. I think you don't just like bow out or anything like that, but I think going in, even those guys will know that it's not looking great without like Jordan and Dinwiddie and everyone. But I think you give it your all and you try where you can and hope you can get a couple dubs. Maybe you skirt in just barely. Maybe everyone else just chokes.
Okay.
I know. First off, DeAndre Jordan, I don't really care for him. I'd rather have Jared Allen than DeAndre Jordan, to be honest. I'm looking at this. It's 7 games, right? 7 games for the playoffs. They didn't change that. It's still 7 games.
Correct.
Yeah, so they're done in 4.
They're done in 2.
Done in 2. Yeah, they're fucked. I'm sorry. Like, what? They're the bench warmers? Are they now the Chicago Bulls? Are they now the Wizards without Bradley Beal? Like, is that what I'm looking at right now? Like, who cares? They're done. They're done. Just, sure. I would even just like, if I was the person doing it, I'd be like, oh, the Nets, let's just take that out and we'll put in another team there. Sounds good.
I guess along with your idea of taking away that team, who would you even put in? The East is trash after it's 7 seed down.
Yeah, they're trash, but like, you got to admit the Nets are they don't have a single, like, Karis LeVert. Sure, he had that one fantastic 50-point game, and I do agree that he has a lot of talent. And Jared Allen is not a bad player, but these are not players that you would typically have on your starting roster. Maybe Karis LeVert you would, but not with who they have currently on their roster. Mm-hmm. And they're just looking at that team. They are not where they should be at the seed that they are placed. They are not supposed to be there. The Magic has the 8th seed, and then after that, who's after the Magic?
Wizards.
It's the Wizards with the 9th.
The Wizards?
Yeah, they're the last team in the bubble for the East. So
well, because then it's Hornets, Bulls, Knicks.
If Bradley Beal was still in, I would say just switch him with the Wizards, because at least I can watch Bradley Beal play. But there's it's so pointless. So pointless.
For sure. I guess we might as well go jump to that, right? Bradley Beal is going to sit out. He said he had a shoulder injury, and it was confirmed by the NBA and the staff. So he still get his money just because it wasn't due to, personal reason.
Right.
Along with that, John Wall won't be returning either. He said he wants to be ready, prepared for the next season, which is a good call in my opinion. Coming back from an Achilles injury, and we've seen a KD, Kobe kind of stuff like that. It's very difficult to come back from. Mm-hmm. I mean, the second best scorer, my boy Davis Bertans, he says, "Yeah, I don't want to risk my chance of losing a big contract in the offseason, so I'm not going to play." What do we think? Do you think between Nets and Wizards, who would you rather have at this point?
Nets for me personally.
Nets. Okay.
Because I think Wizards without those 3 are. Is it a team? Is there anyone?
What's your boy Rui?
Oh, I'm sorry. He's cool, but I don't want to watch just him play against a professional team. I want to watch Rui versus the Lakers. Like, no thanks.
That's fair. That's fair.
I don't even know. Like, I'm looking at the Wizards roster right now. The only person I'm interested in watching is Rui. That's it. But it's the same exact thing for the Nets. Like, there's got to be another team that you could replace. Like, fuck it. I would rather have, like, the Pistons. At least I can watch Derrick Rose play. Like, I seriously do not care. Like, at this point, you have 2 very pitiful teams. Either way, it's not going to work out. No matter who you throw in there, it's not going to work out. I would argue that you could throw in somebody from the West into the playoff position. Fuck the East. Just put another team in the West in there. You might as well.
I kind of like that.
Put the Phoenix Suns in there. You have Devin Booker. Like, you might as well. Like, why the fuck not? that. Like, just do that.
No,
At least they're a competent team. Like, everything else on the East just screams garbage. So,
no, for sure. I mean, let's be real, right? The only teams we respect in the East are the top four, right? We might as well just simulate at this point and get 4-0 sweeps for the top four teams. Because along with this, Victor Oladipo is going to sit out. He says he wants to prepare for next season. He felt really bad abandoning his team, but
he wasn't. I mean, if we're being honest, he really wasn't doing that much when he came back from his injury. So maybe it is best that he does sit out. A lot of players are going to look at this and be like, it's like put an asterisk around this season, which I think is bullshit. But if you're not healthy, now is the time to sit out, honestly.
no, I definitely agree. Also, we heard that Gordon Hayward and Mike Conley. I don't know. Everyone's having a child somehow, always during the playoffs. Gordon Hayward and Mike Conley have said that they will probably leave the bubble, just obviously because their kid's going to be born. Do we think it's even worth for these guys to come back, even if they advance to the second and third round, or do you think there's too much, A, from a virus standpoint, or just B, from a necessity standpoint, right? I mean, you saw Mike Conley being very hit or miss throughout the season, almost dead weight at some points. Gordon Hayward has been doing pretty well, obviously with his role changing, being more of a six-man-ish, just with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum just kind of taking off from the small forward position. What do you think, Matt?
So I'm looking at the Celtics lineup, and with Hayward out, you still have a really good roster. Okay. They've been playing without Hayward for a lot, like for a decent amount of games when he was injured again. I'm not worried if Gordon Hayward is injured. I still think the Celtics can make a really, really strong push. I'm looking at this roster. You have Kemba Walker, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Daniel Tice. Like, that's a still really solid roster. Like, that is a really good team. Marcus Smart has been playing really, really well. Kemba Walker's a great leader. Jaylen Brown is earning his money, and Jason Tatum is just on fire. So if anybody is going to, it sucks because obviously Hayward makes them a better team, but I don't think he impacts it enough to where I'm questioning if the Celtics move forward. Plus, he's having a kid, like that's something you don't miss. That's something that you need to be there for. So like for all of the, and I don't want to call it an excuse because it's really not, I wouldn't necessarily say it's an excuse, but like for all of the reasons to miss the playoffs, that's the one. And if he comes back, cool, great, that's awesome. But if he doesn't, I mean, I think it's fine.
Gotcha. I think, Kevin, you can agree with me that as much as we love Jason Tatum, we're not liking his hairdo as of right now, right? Look, man's looking a little scruff.
It's a little iffy. I don't like it.
That's a great take.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, it looks like the hair you find in your shower, Jen. Let's be real at this point.
You said it.
Lastly, from a contending team, Landry Shamet, the Los Angeles Clippers, also tested positive, and he will not be there. Kevin, just being an all-around Los Angeles lover, do you think that's going to be a very detrimental thing for the Clippers? No.
I mean,
go ahead.
I think Shamet's not a bad player. With the rest of the Clippers, I think the rest of the Clippers can carry the team without him.
And by the rest of the Clippers, you mean just Kawhi, right? Paul George is not a part of this picture.
Yeah, Kawhi, Paul George, I don't refer to him anymore.
Gotcha.
Oh my
Matt, can we get a T-shirt saying "fuck Paul George" as well? Like, can we get that for just for Kevin?
If you're gonna do that, then on the back it should also say that Kevin was wrong.
Kevin. That's fair. What do you think, Matt? Just being the anti-Laker fan here, do you think that Landry Shamet is a strong enough factor that could be detrimental for the Clippers in the playoff restart?
I would probably say it's a little bit more of the same of what I was saying about the Celtics. Not as much because I think Hayward's a better player than Landry Shamet. However, he has been playing really, really well. He's a fun player to watch. So any good player that isn't on your team, that isn't playing on your team, is going to do something one way or another, because that's just you're lowering a factor there. But the entire Clippers team, I mean, like, the only player that I can see possibly making this team worse would be like Lou Williams leaving. Like, and I'm not talking about, like, let's exclude Kawhi and Paul George. Let's just, obviously, if one of them was not in, that's going to be dramatic.
For
But
sure.
if like Lou Williams wasn't playing, if Montrezl Harrell wasn't playing, Patrick Beverley wasn't playing, then I would be a little bit more nervous. But I don't think it matters. Honestly, I don't think it matters.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think we're noticing the trend that not many teams are building a bench anymore. They want to stick with like a 4 or 5 man rotation, like the Rockets concept, right? They want to play only 7 players. They want to make sure these guys play 48 minutes a game. And, obviously, we see the impact throughout the season. Maybe load management might come into handy, for a certain individual. But now we can all agree that everyone had load management this season, right? 3 months off. So it'll be very interesting to see, honestly, how these teams kind of recover. Missing some small but probably key pieces just in terms of roster health and just rotations concept. Um, I think I kind of find it interesting that I'm not seeing many teams from high seed sitting out. Kevin, what do you think? Do you think we're going to expect more people? We see Shamit, obviously from the virus, Avery Bradley for personal reasons, but no one else. Dwight Howard actually opted in. Lou Williams may also opt in as well. What do you think? Do you think there's going to be more players wanting to sit out pretty soon, or we're lock and loaded right now?
I think we're gonna see more of the Dwight Howard kind of stuff, of like the players that were kind of iffy. Now that it's kind of finally coming to fruition and it really is going to happen, that I think they're going to jump in and they want to help their team. They want to get to the finals. They want to get that trophy. And for, especially for Dwight Howard, like, get that money that comes with the playoffs and everything like that, so that you can put it back into the community. You can put it back into causes that you believe in. And I think that's a big motivator for a lot of players that were questionable, and especially if they think they and their team have a good chance at doing that. I think they want to support that.
For sure. No, I definitely agree with that. I think, especially people who are on the line, I think people are trying to see the bigger picture as well. And they're trying to understand that, yeah, once we get the money, we can just, feed it back into the community and rebuild, people's lives again. That'll be very interesting to see, people like Lou Williams. And we even saw, I was very surprised that Pat Bev was like, if LeBron says we're going, we're going. And I think he meant it more.
Wrong.
Like, out of all the people to say it, I was just very surprised that Pat Bev was the one to be like, hey, we're going. All right, that's it. I think we can all agree that we love basketball so much, but definitely bigger things than just the sport, right? Matt, so Jason Tatum came out saying that country players like himself, they're putting a lot they're putting a lot on the line in terms of the bubble, right? Do we think these players should go out to get their contract and try to get their money, or the work that they did, they've done throughout the season is enough to make their case?
I'm pretty interested in that. It's essentially how their managers, how the owners view this season, right? So if a lot of the managers are putting that asterisk above this playoffs or championships or season or whatever, I don't necessarily, I think they'll look more towards this season, and whatever happens in the playoffs happens. I think the players who are kind of on that borderline, on that edge, where they're like, you need to do a little bit more, or like, you've been doing really great, but we need to see a little bit more from you. I think they should go out and play, but depending on the reason that they don't want to play, that might outweigh everything else. Like, I think in general, this season might not be the best way to define whether somebody has earned a contract, just because you haven't played a full season technically. So if I do agree with a part of what Tatum is saying, these players are trying to make a name for themselves, especially players who are about to, be done with their contract, going into free agency. I do think that you should play your hardest and do whatever you can to get that money. But if you're out for a specific reason, for a good reason, I mean, who's to argue with that? Like, there's really not much you can do about it.
For sure. And I think we can all agree, like, Jason Tatum's, as of right now this season, is probably, like, for sure a top 15 player, right? We can all agree with that. And we all know that he's going to be easily getting his money, right? There've already been talks about him getting, like, a max extension, 180 million or something.
Sure.
But obviously with this season, not generating enough revenue, they're going to probably reduce the cap by a significant amount. It's going to hurt some of these young guys. Bertans, for example, he does want to sit out because this man did have 2 ACL tears and 1 in each knee. So I think we can all agree he played very well beyond the expectations that we had for him. And I could see his point for not going, right. For him, if he gets 1 more tear in his knee, he's done, right? Like, he's not going to get his money. He's DeMarcus Cousins at this point, right? Kevin, so someone like your boy, like Montrezl Harrell, or even like Matt's boy, Fred VanVleet, even Bogey, Bogdanovich, these guys are trying to, make their case, right? They're on the brink of maybe even being like starter to maybe all-star potential in the next few years. What do you think about this? Do you think that these guys should go risk it all just to try to get that contract, or do you think this season was enough of a statement for them, to get the contract they want?
I think what Bertans did is great. But I think it's great because he's on a team that has a very low chance of doing anything. And I think it's okay for him to be like, hey, I'm going to look at my health. I'm going to take that into account first. And I think I proved myself enough this season. I think for people like Montrez and VanVleet, I think it's a little different in that I think they've proven themselves. Absolutely. They both had outstanding seasons. I think what those types of like borderline, like starters, but could be all-star players, they should risk it to go there. And they want to show to everyone what they can do in the playoffs. They want to show what they can do at the highest level of competition. If Montrezl Harrell comes out and I'm assuming the Clippers are going to make playoffs, and if he comes out and is putting up insane numbers every playoff game, then his stock goes up significantly. He's going to get a way bigger contract. And I think more teams are going to take him a lot more seriously. Same with VanVleet. I think same with all those guys that are kind of the borderline players. They have a lot to gain from risking it. Basically, I understand if they wanted to not do that. That's a tough decision, and I don't think I'll ever have to make a decision like that in my life.
For sure. I mean, I wish we could make that decision, right? I mean, I would like to get paid, 15, 20 mil a year, biz cash at that point.
That's true.
I know, boys, we're pretty desperate for basketball. I know we've been saying it every podcast, but now it's teasing to us, right? 2-3 weeks. 2 weeks we'll get scrimmages. 3 weeks we get our season back. Hopefully, crossing our fingers that everything does go well. Obviously, health is a bigger concern at this point. We don't want people getting sick. And we want to make sure that the message doesn't get lost in terms of Black Lives Matter, right? As much as we want basketball, it's just a sport at the end. And we can hope that the NBA and the players come together and we can actually use it as a great platform to bring forth a real change. And with that, I'm going to shoot it back to Matt.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the show. Again, let's look at the bigger picture. That's what matters right now. Like Sam said, basketball is just a sport at the end of the day. So if the NBA can do something to boost Black Lives Matter, that would be very beneficial. And not only to the movement, but to the NBA brand as a whole. So let's see something happen. Let's see some goodness happen from it. You guys can follow us on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We are at the Deep3 Pod. If you have any questions or concerns or just anything that you want to ask us about life, maybe, who knows? you could ask maybe a question on why Sam decided to shave his dope ass beard. I mean, the questions all over the place, man. So it's a good one. You can email us at thedeep3pod@gmail.com, and you can follow us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. So thank you guys so much for listening to the show, and we'll see you next time. Deuces.
Vote.